Hi there, welcome to Apple World, sending you over to something many refer to as Puffy Flavor Camp. There you go to learn Flavor Camp, that is what it was called, and you will go to Puff Daddy's during the 90s. Do you comprehend what that resembles? Throughout recent years, upsetting tales have been coursing via online entertainment that Diddy prepared Usher when Usher was a teen, and as per various sources, Usher's mother purportedly learned about the corrupted things that occurred at Puffy Flavor Camp. Attendant's mother, Jonetta Patton, has apparently suggested the problematic things happening at Diddy's home and in the music business. Keeping in mind that some accept she readily gave Usher to Diddy, others are guarding her, and they're saying she didn't have any idea better. There are a wide range of disrupting bits of gossip twirling around the scandalous Puffy Flavor Camp, from claims that Diddy permitted more seasoned ladies to say, Usher, to charges that Diddy by and by did something to him. Diddy himself recently offered a few very unusual remarks about awakening in a similar bed with Usher, when Usher was only 10, and afterward, Usher conceded that he saw a few wild things at Puffy Flavor Camp, while likewise clarifying that he could never send his own children to live with Diddy. So what's the genuine truth about Puffy Flavor Camp's guide's mother? Actually, Diddy did something horrendous to her child. We should get into it. It's not at all like fellowshipping. You realize we see each other around, yet we don't get Usha. How have you been, man? I've been seeing you for so long. How much did we drink? So we should start by discussing Puffy Flavor. There are such countless dim and vile bits of gossip encompassing this spot. And surprisingly, the actual name doesn't sound right, particularly when you know that teen young men live there with Diddy. It's not satisfactory whether Diddy himself named his house Puffy Flavor Camp anyway. The name became public information after music head honcho Reed involved it in his 2016 collection of memoirs. This is the manner in which Reed portrayed his choice to send a young attendant to reside with Diddy in New York City. I sent Usher to New York for what I called the Puffy Flavor Camp. I maintained that Usher should be edgier than a layperson. I didn't believe Usher should be pretty. The attendee was 15 years of age. However, nothing about him at any point appeared to be adolescent. I was giving him to the most stunning party fellow in the country at an age when I actually expected to get his mom's consent, yet he went to New York for very nearly a year. I didn't know whether I was being reckless or having a revelation now. Reed said Usher was 15 when he sent him to Puffy Flavor Camp anyway. When Usher had a meeting with Howard Harsh in 2016, Howard said Usher was 13 when he moved in with Diddy, and Usher didn't write him. Obviously, 15 could not have possibly made it any better. It's similarly upsetting. Additionally, the way that Reed said Usher was 15 yet nothing about him at any point appeared to be an adolescent sounds like something a custodian would agree to for their casualty. You're a lot more developed than your age by how Reed was likewise, as of late, blamed for SA by previous Arista Records leader Drew Dixon, who guarantees that Reed originally tried her and afterward debased her from landing positions in the music business. Yet we should return to Usher and those upsetting, prepping claims. So for the people who may not know about Usher's ascent to distinction, Usher has been in the diversion business since he was essentially a young child. As a matter of fact, when he was only 10 years of age, he joined a R&B team called the Fresh Starts. The Gather even dropped a collection, however. At that point, Usher's mother, Jonetta, stepped in and hauled him out of the scene. She never made sense of what occurred anyway. She purportedly let her inward circle know that Usher had a terrible experience. Currently, what's truly upsetting about this is that Usher was 10 when he joined Fresh Starts, and Diddy said in an as-of-late re-emerged interview with Kevin Hart that he and Usher used to awaken together and wrestle when Usher was 10. I mean some time ago when he was like 10 and I was a smidgen more established. His more seasoned sibling, we used to battle about the over-the-iced pieces. You understand what I'm talking about before Stop was concocted. You understand what I'm talking about. However, it's my sibling for genuine. We used to really wrestle off of the for the iced place. Additionally, did you notice that there's in a real sense a grown-up toy on Diddy's bed behind him at any rate after Usher's mother pulled him from Fresh Starts, referring to a terrible encounter? Usher supposedly implored her to allow him to keep chasing after a music vocation. Usher's ability was irrefutable and he had an enormous enthusiasm for singing, and it turns out that Jonetta felt she had no other choice except to allow her child to follow his fantasies. Usher proceeded to perform at nearby ability shows, and when he was only 13, he encountered a Jay Alexander, who used to function as Bobby Earthy's guardian. Usher and Alexander met at an ability show in Atlanta, and Alexander quickly perceived Usher's true capacity and encouraged him. He then welcomed a delegate from Reed's Mark to watch Usher perform on the show Star Search. Reed's delegate was dazzled, and he set up for Usher to sing before Reed himself. Reed was so floored by Usher's ability that he didn't squander it. He marked him at that moment. God's down on one knee, and he's expressing young men's stopping point. He truly enchanted the young ladies in my office. So everybody hails L.A. Reed as the legend who found Usher, yet there's presently this entirely different point where Reed is getting heat for purportedly allowing Diddy to exploit adolescent attendant in the most awful manner after Reed marked Usher was good to go for his huge presentation collection. However, at that point, adolescents came and wrecked with his voice. Reed had no persistence, and he was apparently considering dropping attendant from his mark anyway. Usher begged the name to allow him to stay close by rather than letting him go. Reed chose to send Usher off to New York to live with Diddy and go to what Reed called Puffy Flavor Camp. By the way, Diddy's epithet at the time was Puff Daddy, and a few sources guarantee he procured the moniker Puff on the grounds that, as a kid, he would fit and puff when he was furious. Diddy never really made sense of where Puff Daddy came from. As a matter of fact, when he plunked down for a meeting with Oprah in 2006, he said that this was one question he could never respond to. Oprah asked how he could get the name Puff Daddy, to which Diddy answered that it's an epithet someone gave me. Oprah then pushed Diddy to make sense of everything that the moniker implies. Anyway, Diddy said to her, "I've never let anybody know that I realize you get individuals to let you know all that, Oprah. Yet I can't look you in the eye and make sense of that one." Yet Oprah was tenacious, so she joked back, "So turn away." Diddy immediately denied this and said, No, it's simply a senseless name." Oprah then, at long last, quit any pretense of telling Diddy. "I can see that you won't tell me." And Diddy then, at that point, added that I'll address each and every other inquiry anyway. What we can be sure of is that Diddy loves to call different men Daddy, and it seems like he enjoys making straight men awkward. Definitely, I love this drink. "I like when you like this, Daddy. You put my back." "Daddy, I like when you're scrambling and scratching." "I like that, man." "Do it, man. You merit it." Daddy is currently returning to Usher at only 13 or 14 years of age. He unexpectedly wound up in the center of Diddy's terrible kid team, making him the most youthful individual from that point on. At that point, Diddy had gained notoriety for tossing wild, and, as per a few observers, debased parties at his home, so the way that Reed thought it was smart to send a 14-year-old kid to reside there is incredible, except if he knew precisely what he was doing. Now you're likely pondering where were Usher's folks and how they could permit their kid youngster to move alone to New York and live with a developed man in a spot called Puffy Flavor. Camp attendant's dad left the family when Usher was only a year old, and Usher grew up with his mom, Jonetta, then stepfather, and relatives. However, before we discuss Jonetta and why she permitted Usher to move in with Diddy, we should momentarily return to this meeting with GR00MED on Reality Creations, where she brought out Diddy over his supposed prepping and focused on what terms Puma used to portray Diddy. He begins clienteling with Tupac and client, telling with Big Deal, doing melodies with Big Deal, and building a functioning, fellowship with Honeycombs, and, also known as Diddy. And, for what reason do you give him the Honeycombs? Because he smacked so sweet. Presently, certain individuals accept that Puma has no genuine inside information about the music business and that she's simply rehashing reports anyway. Panther has really been legitimized endlessly time again to give you only one model in that equivalent meeting with reality, which turned out in December 2022. Puma proposed that something dim, unquestionable requirement happened to Cassie since she took off from Diddy and broke her $250,000 per month sweetheart agreement. How could you quit what is happening at $250,000? Ain't enough. I'm trying to say that the way that he slices from 500 to 200, who gives a 200K, 250K, who turns down 250K a month presently quick forward to November 2023, and Puma was legitimized. Cassie genuinely went through something dark and frightening. Past creative mind by the manner in which Panther likewise recently proposed that Diddy himself might have been exploited by the late Uptown Records pioneer Andre Harrell, who was supposedly prepped by his guide, Clive Davis. As a matter of fact, Panther utilized the term dealer and guaranteed that Diddy involved his key, influential place in the music business to traffic all kinds of people. My concentration right now is scene. Come okay, explain to us why he's a sex dealer and he's utilizing music and diversion to sex traffic.